Hey everybody, it's Michael Padone with SalesBuzz.com, and let's talk outbound sales cadences because everybody seems to always be looking for the most perfect sales cadence as if that's going to be some type of magic bullet for them to hit their numbers, okay? So the first thing I want to say is skill plus output equals results. So the output portion is your cadence, right? So you definitely need that if you're going to be able to, if you want to have a shot of hitting your results. What comes before the output is the skill. You need the skill. When you tie in the output, you're going to hit results. So let's talk about your output right now. What is the most effective outbound sales cadence is there? I just did a poll on LinkedIn and I gave three options. The first one is, do you think it's more effective to call one prospect 9 times, call 3 prospects 3 times, or call 9 prospects 1 time? Let me start with what I feel is the least effective out of all these three, and it's going to be the exact opposite of what you're hearing out there. Okay. In my opinion, calling one prospect 9 times is the least effective. And here's the reason why. You only have so many hours in a day. So if you're calling one prospect 9 times, so let's say it's over a 30-day period, which really in business, there's only like 22 working days, right? So if you're in contact with somebody 9 times over 22 business days, there's only so many hours in a day that you can work because of the fact of calling hours, right? We're not going to call somebody 3 a.m. So you have that, from 9 to 5 or whatever your hours are, right? You can only do so many dials in there. So if you're calling one prospect 9 times throughout that time, that is taking away from you reaching out to other prospects as well. Does that make sense? So if you call everybody 9 times through a 22 period day, you're only going to be able to fit so many people in. Okay, so with that being said, how many times have you been on the receiving end of somebody reaching out to you over and over and over again? I've seen studies where it says, hey, it used to be 5 times, then 7 and 9, then we've seen 15, we've seen 21 times, right? But my opinion in this, my belief is coming from 2 areas. The number one area is that I've made over 250,000 outbound cold calls in my career. So just off of those stats and in different industries and things of that nature, I know that I'm not calling somebody 9 times. I'm just not going to do it. With that being said, I also have one client that was recently acquired by American Express. And when I came in, their initial process was they were calling people 9 times. And when we looked at their stats, there was a huge drop off after the second attempt. So just think about this. So let's say you have 100 prospects. They call after the second attempt on each one, they were still calling 3, 4, 5, 6, right? They kept doing that. And every once in a while, on the dot way over here on the 7th or 8th time or whatever, or maybe even on the 9th, they might get somebody once in a blue moon. They did all of this output from 3 to 9 attempts with very little results, but just to go see it took 9 times to get that one, and that's what they gave them their average. And I was like, guys, why are we? If you see a huge drop off after the second attempt, wouldn't it make more sense instead of that 3rd, 4th, 5th attempt, we use a 1 and 2 attempt on a brand new prospect? So now we're getting more prospects in the funnel. Does this make sense? Plus, as a sales rep, we're not burning ourselves out by going through the motions of we're calling somebody just because somebody on a LinkedIn blog post wrote that it takes 9 attempts, somebody who probably has never made a cold call in their life, but yet management saying, hey, this is what's out there, so now we have to go ahead and do this. And we're doing all this attempts and we're just burning ourselves out and getting very little ROI in return. Yes, you'll have those outliers every once in a while on the 7th, 8th, 9th attempt. You get them. My argument in this case is, wouldn't it be better to take those 3 through 9 attempts and make them 1 through 3 attempts on brand new prospects? So now we're increasing our odds because we're reaching out to more prospects. Does that make sense? Okay. With that being said, so I think that calling one prospect 9 times is going to be the least effective. On the opposite side of that, you have calling 9 prospects, right, 1 time. And listen, there's been plenty of boiler room operations way back in the days, the early 90s that I was in, that's what it was. It was turn and burn, right? And you had to get the volume up. I have found 3 times is very effective because I'm getting enough outreach in there. Now, with that being said, after the 3rd attempt, listen, I know that I've reached out to them. and that they've gotten my message by the third time. So if they're not calling me back, right, it's either that my message needs to be tweaked, because this is assuming that I'm going ahead and speaking. I built a list that matches my ICP, my ideal customer profile, correct? So we're going to put all those basics in place. We're reaching out to the right people. They pre-qualify to be a suspect, right? Because they match certain criteria that equals what our best clients look like, whether it's industry, location, employee size, revenue, all of that together, title, things of that nature. Okay. So with that being said, when I'm reaching out to them after the third attempt, if they haven't responded, chances are, my messages might be off, timing could be off. There really is just no need for whatever reason, or maybe they're making a mistake by not contacting me back, and it might cost them their job down the line, right? That's actually happened in my industry, but hey, it is what it is. That's out of my control. But I know after 3 attempts, they've gotten the message. I changed my message up a little bit. I hit 2 or 3 pain points on each attempt. And if I don't get a response, my efforts are better off moving on to another prospect and doing it that way. So whether I'm getting 3 different prospects in the pipeline rather than just the one. Does this make sense? Because we only have so much time, guys. Somebody can't go, well, why don't we just call all prospects 9 times? Well, okay, you can do that. But the number of prospects you're going to be able to fit is going to be capped out, where if you decided to call 3 prospects 3 times, you're going to do the same amount of work, but you're going to have way more prospects in that outreach. You're going to increase your chances dramatically of getting more people to respond. Okay, and then of course you have let's do 9 prospects once. We'll just call everybody once and cycle through the list and start again. That's fine too. I just want to point out, I want to give somebody food for thought on why I feel that calling one prospect 9 times is the least effective out of all these. And I want to state a case to get you to think of why maybe calling more prospects fewer times is going to be in your best interest. All right. The last thing I want to say too is this: if you're not using drip email marketing, you definitely should be doing that, because if I call somebody 3 times and they don't respond, I'm going to definitely make sure I'm putting them into a drip marketing campaign where it's automatic, it's automatically running, and I can focus my efforts elsewhere. The automatic drip email campaigns, though, is not going to be pestering them to get them to reach out to me, or for me to push my services or my products or anything of that nature. That's not what you want to do. I want to drip quality solutions to problems chances are they're having, so that I can build myself up as a subject matter expert, so that they're getting helpful stuff. I'm giving more than I'm taking. I'm giving free info, little tidbits that can be beneficial to them. And then when they hit a tripwire or a trigger event down the road, whether it's a day, a year, 6 months, whatever, right, that all of a sudden they have a pain point that I solve, and they've gotten to know me, right? So the formula is, know me, like me, trust me, pay me, right? So so if I keep dripping stuff out that's helpful to them, when they do end up getting a pain point that needs to be solved right then and there, and without me physically doing that work of constantly, reaching out to them, I was using a drip marketing campaign to build myself up as an SME, again, subject matter expert. I'm getting an inbound lead now. They're raising their hand, and I already have a leg up on my competition. This is a much smarter way to do outbound sales prospecting, in my opinion. It's been very effective for me. There's so many tools out there that can do this. When I first got into sales, it was basically your leads are on a table, right? We call them call sheets. If you ever seen the movie The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith, I highly recommend. If you don't, there's a scene in there where they're calling. They got call sheets, and you just have to start dialing, and that was it, right? And so that's where my background came from, and it was very effective then. We didn't have the internet. We weren't using email and all this other stuff. When I got into it, that wasn't even a popular thing yet. Now you have the LinkedIn, you have all these tools that can go ahead and help you build that prospecting list. And then you have tools like Yesware and all these other ones that could automatically send some emails out for you. You could pre-write a series, and then after your third attempt, they don't respond, you could just put them in a campaign, let it go. You could hire people to write it for you if you want. and you can get this done very inexpensively, and it can be very effective. Work smarter, not harder. It kills me when I hear people say it's harder than ever to sell today. I mean, that right then and there, when somebody says that, I know for a fact they've never closed. They probably can't close the door behind them, let alone close a deal. Because if you're telling me it's harder today, when you have more tools than ever to get on your prospect's radar, it's guys, it's easier than just saying there's your leads on the phone, go at it. Today, you can build your list, target your list. You can reach out to them. You have multiple ways to reach out to them. You can not only do you have you call, you got voicemail, you got email, you can LinkedIn message, you can even text now, right? So if you want, you can even tweet to them. I don't recommend some of that stuff, but I'm just saying there's more ways to reach out to them. And just because there's more ways, that doesn't mean you can have this long cadence. Well, I'm going to call, I'm going to text, I'm going to email, I'm going to send a LinkedIn message. Listen, they got your message. If you call, voicemail, and email, they've gotten your message if you do it at least 3 times. It might be better to you got to decide to fish or cut bait, or better yet, do your efforts, get your dials up. I'd rather see you contact 3 prospects 3 times and get more in that funnel, and then have a drip marketing campaign that alerts you when they've opened an email, or they come back to your site, or they reach back out to you because something you said hit a button that was pre-written that's being dripped to them while you're still contacting more prospects. You'll get a better pipeline, you'll have more energy, and you won't burn yourself out so fast. All right, I hope this helps. Take care.